Hello, everybody. I am DJ Leandro. Welcome back to the DJ Leandro Music YouTube channel. And in this video, this is the essential Cubase tips that every producer should know. So without further ado, let's get started. My first tip to every producer out there, and it's a simple one, and it is oftenly very overlooked and can be damning, especially if you are losing projects, is to save all the time. This is one thing that is highly, highly recommended, and I cannot express it even more, especially with PCs these days with crashing hard drives and backups and whatnot. So all the time, I highly recommend. It's very simple. You can just click File, Save. Every so often, anytime you change something within your track, just make a habit of it that you're going to keep on saving. As you can see, the shortcut is Control S. So you can just do File, Save, or you can just click Control S to save. Okay, then this comes to my next tip, which is saving your project as. Now, what this does is basically will, for argument's sake, let's say if we save this project as OBS, for argument's sake, if we click here, File, and then we go Save New Version, it will make it OBS-01. And if you keep doing that all the time, it's going to make OBS-02, 03, so on and so forth. So anytime, for argument's sake, if you're going to create something within your track, let's say you adding new sound, a new lead, for argument's sake, you can save as new version. And that way, if you don't like it, you can just revert back to a previous version. Just to show you what it looks like here from one of my projects, as you can see, it will have here, there we go, vector long version 24, 23, 22, so on and so forth. So this is definitely very, very intuitive for saving of your projects and is linked to the first tip. Tip number 3, and it's a video that I've done in the past, is using templates. Project templates are absolutely awesome, especially if you're going to make custom templates. It's going to make your life a lot easier. You're going to save a lot of time. For argument's sake, a standard, you're going to have, let's say, project folders, as well as using drum buses and group channels and whatnot. If you can want to set up a template for yourself, and every time you start a project, you'll just obviously file, you open new project, and then you'll find your template there. In the top right hand corner, you'll find, as well as in the link in the description, I'll give you a link on how you can create project templates, and that's going to help you with going forward. And then number 4 is group tracks. Now a little bit more information with regards to doing group tracks. For argument's sake, we can just right click here. We can add a folder, and let's say we're going to call this kick and bass. We can group those together. And then here is our folder. We'll just click our loop. For argument's sake, let's say it's our kick and bass here. We'll add that there. And then let's say we'll add another one over here. Let's say we'll call this instruments. And then what we can do is we can add all our instrument tracks to this. And this is going to make, again, our lives a lot better and easier. And it's going to make our projects a lot neater also. And then together with, as I said, with group tracks, we can now add within here. Let's say we're going to add a group track. Let's say we're going to call this also instruments as well, because this is going to be, let's say, our instrument bus. And then we can just add this into our project folder, move it to the top, and then here. So this, again, is going to make your life a lot easier, and it's going to make things much more clearer as well. So if you're looking for your instrument group channel, you'll find it at the top of all your instruments that we've added here within our instruments folder. And then number 5 tip is going to be color scheme. Now, to make your project a lot clearer and to find things a lot better, as opposed to just using one single color, very, very simple. There's a few ways you can do this. Number 1 is, let's say we want to highlight this, make this a different color. We'll click on it. It's highlighted. And then this option over here, you'll click, and then you can choose any color that you want. Let's say we're going to make it pink. There we go. And then now this will be pink. If you want to add both of them, you highlight both, click here again, and you'll click pink, and now they are both pink. Another thing you can do with changing of color, this little audio space here, you can press Control, hold in the left click button, and then you can choose here and click, and this will change this color here. Or what we can do is you can click Control, click, and use the mouse wheel. So we can go up and down. This is now I'm using the mouse wheel. So you can do that also if you like. And then also a little bit more intricate settings with regards to color schemes. If we go to Edit and then we go to Preferences, you'll scroll down to the bottom where it says User Interface. And then here are color schemes. Here you're going to find a whole bunch of more options that you can do. You can even change the fader knob over here into a different color. We can change the actual channel itself, highlighting as well. We can change the color. So this you can customize according to how you feel. Okay. And then tip number 6, when it comes to exporting, especially if you want to do stems, you want to export all the stems from your mix, always do batch exporting. I also have a video on this, which you can find in the top corner right now. This is going to help you with saving time exporting instead of doing single track exporting. Very simple. I'll just show you now quickly. You'll just highlight the region that you want. Press P to highlight. We'll then go to File, Export, Audio Mixdown. And then here on top where it says Multiple, you'll click here. And then we'll highlight basically all the channels that we want. And then once this is done, you'll click Export. And that's it. Very simple. More details on that you can find in one of my videos, which is in the top right-hand corner that you can find now on how to export. And that's going to export everything seamlessly at once as opposed to exporting each track one at a time. Okay. And then the tip number 7 is to arrange your samples accordingly, how you're going to work with them. Don't just leave them all over the place. I'll give you an example how I use mine. If we go to our media bay here you'll find my sample folder. You'll see samples is here. And then let's say here's a folder that I got, old samples, and I've separated them, let's say, into house, into one shots, and then here are the ones that I personally have sorted, and then one from other companies. If I go to, let's say, Leandro's sorted, I'll click here, and here I've got them all separated. I've got my kicks, shakers, and everything. Another example can also be sorted by genre. So if I do here, I've separated them, let's say, into vocal loops, tech and techno, strings, house, more Indian inspired themed samples, Afro and percussion. So yeah, if you've got a whole bunch of samples, especially if you want to grow your sample library, definitely, I cannot express this more. Sort out your samples. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and it's going to make your project workflow much quicker. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend doing that. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time. I know it does, but once you do it, every time you add a new, let's say, sample pack or anything like that, you can just drag and drop them into the folders that you've already created for yourself, and that's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay, and then tip number 8. Before you export your tracks, your specific track that you're working with to your, let's say, mastering engineer, or let's say if you're mastering it yourself, always make sure that there's no clipping. Again, this is something that's easily overlooked. So let's say for argument's sake, we want to, let's say this specific project we're working with. Okay, yeah, it's pretty close to 0. If you want, you can always just drop your levels, make them a bit more lower, but always just make sure that it's not going to be clipping before you start mastering on that. And then tip number 9. Again, I've created a video on this, and this is about drum bus compression, or group compression, if you will, because we're not going to just use it on our drums. Definitely doing group and channel compression on specific groups, I cannot recommend anymore. I've got a video in it you can find right now in the top right-hand corner. You can click there. This is going to help you, obviously, grouping each of your tracks. So let's say like now we have instruments. We'll add another one for our drums and another one for, let's say, vocals, for argument's sake. This, you'll add group channels for them, and you'll do group drum bus compression for each of them. Sorry, not drum bus compression, just standard group compression. So that way we can glue each of these groups together, and they're going to make your project sound a lot better. And that is it. These are just a couple tips to help you with your projects, with your workflow as a producer, make your life a little bit easier and streamline your projects so that way you can get more music out there. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am DJ Leandro, and I'll catch you in the next one.